we can fight with them in the race, but it's so competitive right now, and as you can see, in the lap times have gone down dramatically. So I'm looking for a really good race. I'm confident.
Johnny O'Connell joins us again this season for American Le Mans Series broadcast. With 64 cars entered this year, some changes needed to be made to the circuit. So Johnny, with the help of Forza Motorsports 4, will give us the details.
Brian, this year Turn 1 at Sebring is significantly different, and that's because of this. All these pit boxes, when they added all the cars for this year's race, it meant they had to give them some space to go, but it also meant that in order to make pit lane safe, they added this, an extension of the pit lane. Where I am standing now is where the cars used to be when they entered Turn 1. You can see right now, it's so much tighter. It's a tighter radius. They've got to be a little bit more careful when they turn in. They can't carry the momentum. It takes away passing zones. So Turn 1 is going to be much more difficult. Now, using Forza 4, I'm going to demonstrate the right way and the wrong way to go through Turn 1. Now, here I am in my Corvette. Now, on the straightaway, I get into 6th gear. But as I go underneath the bridge here, you're going to see a bunch of cones. Those cones aren't there now. It's a solid wall. But this is me driving in Forza the right line. I'm getting in close to my apex, using all the road both in and out, making my radius as big as possible. That makes the corner super fast. Now this time, I'm in top gear. Remember, those cones on the right are now a solid wall. That's going to force me into an earlier apex. We have a saying, early in means early out. That's what I'm doing right here, running out of road into the dirt. We're going to see that happen a lot in today's race.
Great shots from Forza Motorsports 4 and Sebring Hall of Fame driver Johnny O'Connell, and there's plenty of action left to go from here at Sebring. The countdown continues to the 60th running of this great event. We'll bring you plenty of history throughout the day, and John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw will give you the race call when we come back.
The world-renowned racetrack known as Sebring International Raceway started life as the United States Army Air Force's training base called Hendricks Field. From 1941 to 1946, pilots there learned to fly the legendary B-17 Flying Fortress. After World War II, aeronautical engineer Alec Ullman saw potential in Hendricks runways to stage a sports car endurance race, similar to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Sebring's 5.2-mile course included runways of the airport and roads within the old Hendricks Field complex, with hay bales and oil drums serving as borders for parts of the circuit. The first 12 hours of Sebring saw the likes of Ferrari, Cunningham, Jaguar, and Maserati, and it was the Fraser-Nash Le Mans replica Mark I, driven by Larry Kulak and Harry Gray, who took the very first checkered flag at the race that would quickly grow to one day become the greatest sports car race in America. The excitement of the American Le Mans Series is back, where technology races into the future and no man is better than his machine. Failure is always a threat when pushing development to its very edge, but survival makes success that much sweeter. This is where technology, passion, and danger meet to create a spectacular orchestra. The American Le Mans Series, presented by Tequila Patron, where the technology of speed and danger is everything.
Welcome back to the 60th running of the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by Fresh from Florida. Well, the atmosphere is building towards the start of the American Le Mans Series season, but Jeremy Shaw, there's even more at stake than that here this year, and it has historical significance too.
Well, it's tremendous. I mean, there's always a big grid here. The atmosphere of the grid is absolutely sensational. As you can see, the weather is perfect. But in addition to being the first round of the ALMS this season, it's also the first round of the new World Endurance Championship, taking over from the Intercontinental Le Mans Cup. And the first time since 1992 that the FIA has run a World Sports Car Championship.
And appropriate that that first round of the World Championship is here at Sebring, because in just its second year of operation, 1953, the Sebring 12 Hours was a part of the original World Sports Car Championship. That swelled the group to 63 starters, so the keywords are
patience, and patience. You've got to get to the end of this race. Whichever team can minimise its mistakes, both in the pit lane and particularly on the racetrack, because they're going to be so busy, they are going to be in position to win this race at Sebring.
Well, while we get back to the booth, let me introduce you to a brand new member of the ESPN 3 team, Taro Koki.
Thanks, John and Jeremy. So the team came together at the last moment, although you guys qualified first. Is that all the time it was needed?
No, not really. I mean, we needed more time, but sometimes the pieces fall together. We started talking about this around 12 days ago. You know, Bruno was part of the Genealosi and RSR family last year. They put that deal on hiatus. They kept the family together. I was all part of the family. I won a Trans Am championship with the Genealosis and RSR. And about 8 days ago, it was final. We had a deal, and we came here. We didn't get the chance to test, but we did have a little time on Monday, a little time on Tuesday, and we were behind the 8 ball. You know, some guys have been here for 2 years already, and a lot of guys tested. But I don't know what happened, man. The morning before qualifying, something clicked. We threw a setup on it. I was comfortable. Bruno was comfortable. But P1, awesome.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We're going to Kelly now.
Thanks.
In the P2 category, it was Oak Racing and Olivia Pla who qualified on pole. Matthew LaHaye, this team has been hard at work all winter long. What does the pole effort say about their work?
Yeah, the staff worked very hard during all the winter, and they rebuilt a completely new car. We just have the same chassis, and although the other parts are brand new, and for the first race we are very competitive, so we hope to do a good championship this year.
It's going to be a tough one, thank you.
Oak Racing doing a great job. Matthew LaHaye qualifying
from the overhead Porsche helicopter camera, and just look at how many people there are around, and they've come to see the whole 63 car field, including our pole sitters in P1. Jeremy?
Yeah, Andre Lotterer, the winners at Le Mans last year, and that car, you know, the Audis, they're definitely going to be the cars to beat. We know that going into the race.
Yes, and that new diesel with less fuel on board. In P2, great, fantastic job by Olivia Pla and the Oak Racing team, and they've got a lot of good cars behind them.
Yeah, and P2 almost 4 seconds quicker than last year.
In PC, well, we've just heard from the RSR team, and proof were needed that once a good team, always a good team. Back with a vengeance after some troubled years in GT. Look at the qualifying time in GT and GTE, Jeremy.
Yeah, never been below 2 minutes before a GT car. An amazing effort, and a whole bunch of cars that is so competitive.
In GTC, Sean Edwards nicked the pole away from the rest of the field for the Momo number 30 car, and that will be a car to chase all the way through. Well, the Porsche Panamera pace car brings them around. It is the pace car at the moment. I don't pay the fine. It becomes the safety car once we've started the race. There is the pole sitting Audi. Never raced here before, but that is last year's car. That is last year's 2011 chassis. When we get the Spa for the WEC, that will be a 2012 car, and very different. Are you ready for this, Jeremy?
Absolutely. This is going to be absolutely tremendous. The weather is perfect.
And they've jumped early. The two Ingolstadt monsters are off into the distance. In fact, all three of them as the Muscle Milk HPT is having a sniff around the back of 4th place. The 2 Rebellions going through there as well, but a great start from the leading Audis.
Yeah, the Audis, you know, they're the class of the field, no doubt about it, but the petrol engine cars much closer this year.
And look at the number 12. This is the Neil Yarney driven Hop Suisse, I say, for my mother-in-law. Happy Mother's Day for everyone in Europe this weekend as well. And Neil Yarney already up a position. There's the Strata racing car looking racing as well at the moment. The 3 Audis, well, we have a problem for one of the main runners in the GT category, and that is the 45 Flying Lizard.
Didn't even make it to the
He got hit before the start, I think, Jeremy.
Oh, no.
Now, if I was a detective like my father, I would say that was a clue.
That's crazy. Look at that.
Damage on the front.
Auto
we didn't see the damage on the rear of the car because the
man.
car was turned towards us, but you've got to assume that's the problem. There was also a problem for another GT car in a warm-up. Number 17 Falcon Tires car blew its engine, and we thought that was going to be no chance of it to start the race. We just heard though that they fired up their engine and they're making out on track. Whether it made the start race, I'm not quite sure yet, but an amazing effort by that Falcon team to change an engine in an hour and a half.
Well, drama right at the start of the 60th anniversary running of Sebring. Let's go to Kelly Stavist.
Well, Patrick Long took that 45 Flying Lizard out for the morning warm-up. He was complaining throughout this session about the handling problems. I saw Jörg Bergmeister just before the start of the race and asked him if he thought they had it sorted out. He said, we're hoping it was just cold tires, but I guess I'll find out when I get on the track.
Yellow flags waving, white flags waving for the course vehicle. Also slippery surface flags as well. There's oil down on the circuit or some kinds of fluids, and that was for the Lizard on the driver's right there going into the final corner.
Driver's left, I think it was, going into the final corner. I think it saw some very sort of activity out there as they come down the Ullman Straight, but boy, what a disaster for 2 real contenders in the GT class.
Alan McNish then leads by 7/10 of a second in the number 2 Audi from his teammate Marcel Fester, the pole sitter. So in all of that kerfuffle, McNish has already got to the head of the field. In 3rd place, Timo Bernhard in the number 3 with Klaus Graf, the leading ALMS car. Remember, WEC and ALMS combined here. There are 2 ALMS specific classes in the prototype challenge cars and the GTC cars. And then it's Neil Yarney for Rebellion. Johnny Kidd, what a start for the Ulsterman in the 21 Strata Racing HPT. Now, let's take you back a couple of days to the always exciting night practice on Thursday. This is at the hairpin turn number 7. And as you can see there, the normal car gets turned around, hit by the Rebellion, and then hit by the number 3 Audi, which then gets collected pretty comprehensively by its team car, and almost gets the 3rd Audi as well. Quite remarkable. So the 3 and the 1 Audi with difficulties. There are visibility issues out the front 3/4 of those cars. But as you can see, the team has done a great job of turning them around, and the whispering English-strapped giants are back on the circuit and doing what they do best, which is lead and dominate.
Lead and dominate?
It's just a driver's left.
Because Audi is number 1.
Incredibly, the number 17 car, Wolf Henschler, is it in the race. They did get that car out onto the grid and into the race. That is an incredible effort by that Falcon Tires team.
Yeah, changed an engine in an hour. That is just outstanding. The Audi's pulling away by about 1/2 to 3/4 of a second a lap. What we don't know, Jeremy, is when they'll stop. They've got a smaller fuel cell this year as part of pegging back the diesels. And remember, as I said, these are the Audi R18s that we saw racing in Europe last year. They've never raced at Sebring before, tested. The brand new e-tron Quattro will test for the first time in public here on Monday. And that car will make its race debut, of course, along with the Audi R18 Ultra, the updated version of these cars, at Spa.
Yeah, we're kind of used to seeing the Audis and last year's the Peugeots pulling away from the petrol engine cars at maybe 2 or 3 seconds a lap. But if you look just to the left of the picture as they come through turn 10 there, can we just see the first of the petrol engine cars? Well, not quite, but trust me, it's just out of frame there. It's still pretty close, and there's not that much. We'll see it here, I think, as they come on to the... No, we won't, because we switched away. But the petrol engine cars are much closer, and that fuel consumption is going to be absolutely crucial.
Looking back from the 03 Corvette, any of the ALMS cars with
cambered
conflicting
out.
numbers to the WEC.
Check that out, guys.
That car
Cambered
is,
out.
You know, I'm not a suspension engineer, but that
He's
has
not
been
a suspension
hit by the
engineer, he
58,
said.
and that incident
That's
is
called camber.
under
Excessive camber.
We're going to do everything we can to get this thing fixed. We're going to make 70% of this race, so try to get these guys to hustle up, put it on a rollback, all right?
Yeah, and you need to score. You need to get to 70% of the distance in order to be eligible for points in this race. But you also need to take the green flag, don't you? You need to be
within the first hour.
Within the first hour. So that's crucial too.
Yeah, that's a good point because he hasn't taken the green flag yet.
Quite.
Now where's their pit though? Will they cross the line in the pit lane?
Yeah. So that was Thomas Blam on the radio there. He's a strategist for the Flying Lizard Motorsports team. So yeah, he knows he's got the finger on the pulse of just about everything there is in the world of motor racing. So they won't make any mistakes and they will get that car back out into the race.
Looking back from Jan Magnussen, 4th in GT at the moment, to his teammate Ollie Gavin. And oh, look at the Ferrari just nipping out there. That's Guy Cosmo having a little nibble around the back in the 01 ESM motorsports car, as the GT battle is headed by Tony Vielander in the 51AF Corsa car. In second place is the, in fact they've just changed around, no they haven't, there's the 71 coming through in third, that's Olivier Beretta in the third place car. So it looks to me as though Wielander's cleared off from this battle. Second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth in GT, Jeremy. Very close together, and as we expect, but the lead Ferrari has broken away from this battle. So the Corvette's just getting a little embroiled there. That's a fabulous look back from the 03 car as through comes the number 22 prototype. That's the car that at the moment is fighting its way through the battle.
Yeah, why?
Ooh. So the BMW that is just at the back of the shot there. See the two BMWs, the white M3s, passing under yellow will get a stop and go penalty. The number 155 car, Bill Oberlin in 8th position.
Presume that would be maybe the end into turn 17 on that first lap when
the kerfuffle has gone on.
Yeah, exactly. There were local yellows there. But there's that number 22 car, and I'm not sure why that's way back in the pack, because it certainly shouldn't have been. I don't think they weren't put back of the grid or anything, so they must have had some sort of a delay, I think, on the first lap. But fighting their way through there is David Brabham.
Yeah, it's a JRM car.
It's amazing. Brabham, what a family, that history they have here at Sebring. Granddad, Sir Jack, he won clinched the first of his world championships here at Sebring. Jeffrey Brabham won twice here overall, and this weekend was inducted into the Hall of Fame. David's won here, Gary Brabham's won here, and Matthew Brabham, Jeff's son, won a USF 2000 race this weekend as well.
Well, we're talking about heritage here. 1959, Aston Martin bought the DBR1s here, and that is its closest relative nowadays. Just gone by the 155 BMW. Close to get to the wall on the left-hand side. A real rejuvenation of the Aston V8 Vantage in the almost the dying moments of qualifying yesterday. They hadn't had a great first few days at Sebring, but all of a sudden the pace came to that car, Jeremy, and now again run by the Works team, by Aston Martin Racing, and really flying the flag for this car that has rather been forgotten about in the last few years in GT.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it? Done quite a lot of work on the car, and it's not run very much. It was only unveiled less than a month ago. They had a brief shakedown test in the UK that was wet at Donington. And then they came over here to run a test at Road Atlanta a week or so ago, and that was the first time that Adrian Fernandez had sat in this sort of a car, so it was a big learning curve for Adrian Fernandez, but he was able to learn from Stefan Muka and Darren Turner, of course, to be driving at least similar cars in the GT1 World Championship. They finished second in that last year, so they're drawing from their experience. And Adrian, he really likes this car. It's a very different for him. He's never driven a GT-type car before. Most of his time, his career, obviously, in open-wheel cars and/or prototypes. But he's loving his time in the Aston.
Darren Turner in that car at the moment, having just passed Bill Oberlin. We know Bill's got to come in for that stop-go. That is the battle in GT for 8th, 9th and 8th and 9th and 10th, yes, in that category.
And the 02 Extreme Speed Motorsports Ferrari back there. The Extreme Speed cars, I think they qualified on the harder, the medium Pirelli tyre, whereas maybe some of the other contenders started on softer tyres. It's a lot hotter today.
Look at the Ferrari
than it was
wobbling in the
yesterday.
back.
Is that
right
going
there.
to come into effect towards the end of this
Tire's
first
about to
stint?
come off.
That is 4th and 5th, the two Corvettes at the moment.
She was
Ollie Gavin
wobbling.
goes through. In fact, as I say that, he's gone up to 3rd. Where's Tony Villander gone? He was being scored up there.
Look at it, it's wobbling.
So
look at it,
lost
look at it.
one
It's
of
wobbling
the
like
Ferraris.
crazy.
Mello now
They don't see it yet, look.
into the lead in the
This is
59
wobbling.
luxury car with Beretta in second.
The green
The
Ferrari.
Villander car, Tony Villander dropping down. That car, he's gone into the pits. Now, that wasn't the car that was involved in that incident. So the 51 car, which was leading GT and was pulling away at a phenomenal rate, has pitted.
That looks fine now. I don't know.
He's going straight to the garage. Look, he's got a head out the window. Well, this is disaster for the car that was driving away in this early few laps of the GT category.
It's been lightning fast all week, that car. It's been very much the pace setter by probably half a second, really, in most of the sessions. I mean, it's been lightning fast, but you've got to finish this race. We talked about it earlier on. You've got to be patient in terms of traffic and not make any mistakes in the pits, but you've got to have the car reliability as well. We kind of take reliability for granted almost these days, because when you compare endurance racing or any kind of motor racing now to 5 or certainly 10 years ago, the cars these days much more reliable.
And there's another problem. Unbelievable. Another prancing horse has gone lame early on in this. This is the Waltrip car, and that is the 61 car. Oh, now he's got fire again in that car. Rui Aguas, the Ferrari test driver, smashing lad. Now, did that just cut out at him? He's clearly he's done the three-fingered salute, hasn't he? You know, the old Control Alt Delete. At that stage, you're pushing everything, and that is not a happy pony. The modern and magic is not there. We're hearing an alternator from the team, and that, excuse me, a little bit of miscommunications. Hindhoff not listening in. I'm too excited at the moment. The 51, what you've just seen, the AF Corsa car, has got an alternator problem. I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if it had a similar problem on the Aguas car, and Risi had that problem last year. Here's the 155 coming in. Everything's happening so quickly, and we're only 5 minutes into the race. This is unbelievable. This is a penalty for Oberlin. Shaking his head, he's not happy. Racing drivers never ever think it was their fault.
Yeah. And particularly someone like Bill's experience. I mean, they don't come much more experienced than Bill Oberlin. So for him to make a mistake to pass somebody under yellow, it's unlikely, let's say. I mean,
well, but it's fast and furious at that point.
And you don't expect a yellow flag going down to turn 17 on the first lap of the motor race either. So,
correct.
And you're busy. Everything's going on around you, particularly on that first lap. You're trying to sort everything else. And like I say, going into the final corner on the first lap, the chance of being a yellow there, and not a full course yellow, minimal.
Full course caution is out. Our first one. We are barely quarter of an hour into the race, and it is for the 61 Rui Aguas Ferrari. Oh, well. And the lead, by the way, that the Audis had built up was over 5 seconds at the head of the field. That gets neutralised immediately.
Yeah, but only 5 seconds. Last year it would have been 15 probably, wouldn't it?
Okay. I do like your cup half full sort of attitude, Mr. Shaw.
Yeah.
So
I mean, to Klaus Graf, who's been charging along, his best lap time for Klaus Graf, who's the best of the petrol engine cars in car number 6, was a 1:49.7 so far. That's just over a second and a bit slower than McNish.
Now, a car that would normally see fighting with those GTs we were showing you earlier, as Aguas gets it going again, I think that's electrical, is the 17 Falcon car. Now, it has started the race, but in rather trying circumstances. There's an old saying in motor racing that nothing good happens in warm-up. Hugh Chamberlain. And there is the proof we needed that the car was out there. But this morning in warm-up, well, it was a very, very different story for Brian Sellers, as he pulled the car over with what may have looked like a bit of a fire, He's had to pull the bottle, and if you look underneath the car to the right hand side, you can see there's an oil fire going on there. And it was really, at that stage, almost looking game over for the Falcon team.
And it was a remarkable effort by the entire Team Falcon Tire crew. They had to do a motor swap after that engine failure, and it wasn't an easy one because the new engine did not have, it wasn't completely dressed, so they had to take parts off the old one to put on the new one. When I saw Brian Sellers behind the paddock before the start of the race, he said, I'd be amazed if we get it done in 3 hours. Well, guess what? They got it done in an hour and a half in time for the green flag. So kudos to the entire Team Falcon team.
And, of course, this yellow flag helps them, and sometimes they say fortune favours the brave. They started from pit lane, but they have taken the green flag. There is the proof. Just remarkable. And remember, this is a brand new car for all the leading Porsche runners this year. It has great similarities to last year's car, but as you can see, it's a bit more muscular around the rear end. So there are some discrete differences about how things are done, and for those guys to turn that round in less than 90 minutes is nothing short of brilliant.
Yeah, Derek Walker and the boys there at the Falcon Tires team, just an incredible effort put in by them, and super to see. They've struggled with that car this week. As you said, it's the new 2012 Porsche 911 RSR. It's wider, it's better all around. It rides the bumps really, really well, but they can't really get it to work on these Falcon tyres yet. They haven't really switched on that car for these tyres. They've been struggling this week, but at least they are now in the race. And yeah, as we said, we heard there, he did start from the pit lane. The number 22 car, I believe, that Broughton car, the JRM HPD, that also started for some reason from the pit lane.
Well, as you can see, the safety teams have now decided to intervene. I think that's very wise. Rui Agrash trying to get back around to the pit lane under his own steam was a bit stop-go. There is our leader, Alan McNish, behind the Corvette safety car, as it now is. We'll take this opportunity to take a breath after all of the action in the opening moments here at the 60th annual Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring.
Usually